Thank you everyone for joining this evening. Big thanks to Richard Crapp as well for stepping in at last minute in sort of 5-6 days ago to do this sort of welcome to my workshop thing. Just a little bit of housekeeping to begin with. There were a couple of people this evening who, when you join, please be aware that we can all hear you. So when you're making phone calls, etc., then we can hear the full conversations, build and lock. So just make sure when you join that you mute yourself. There will be plenty of time for questions at the end. Richard's going to run a video, and well, there's a video, some stills. Richard will talk over part of it, and then at the end, if you wish to ask a question, then just raise your hand or type the question in the chat window, and we can go from there. Over to Richard.
Go. This is my new invented 20-volt starting device. Finished. Type of drill also starts bigger engines. This is the 85cc roto. Starting that by myself, the ignition's off. Right, so this is my bulletin. Bought when I had to do a small upgrade in my metalworking. Built a swordfish years ago. Quite easily cuts a thick piece of stainless steel like that. These are the cones for the starter. They're salvaged from all the old broken electric starters over the years. I found that you had to have a very substantial piece of threaded rod. It's about ½ inch thick. Anything less seems to bend. We've got an old shipyard style bench device. Pretty good. Cheapo to the drill, just about every model has got an old magnet saw. Particularly good because it's got a nice deep throat. Stop tap. Here's my very useful 9-tailor. Real picture is with a press with this. Dust extraction. Filter. Used for painting. Quite effective. Here's my milling machine. 85 degrees. It's probably about 1940s. American import. Came over to help the war effort. That's just helping me. Here's my Banquet laser cutter. Very reasonable price from China. I'm not sure if someone is anything in that. This is my latest practice phone, donated or left for me by Dave Toyer. I'm going to show you what it took to get this roto running properly. This is probably a prototype roto that I picked up at the Nationals boot sale. It wouldn't run properly, and if it did, it wouldn't accelerate again until I added this extra baffling, which directs the air onto the intake pipes and the carburetor to keep it a little bit cooler. Made all the difference. Those intake pipes run at about 70 degrees. Um, the baffling inside the cowling is made of sponge. Very light and very tight around the engine. I also have to add another lip to increase the extraction. It flies pretty well, but it's a heavy old lump. Cut. This is my new competition model, the Stomp with a Lycoming conversion. The roto installation. I've got some, I learned from that, I've got the extra sponge baffling on here, weighs nothing. This one has got an extra plastic block. This is a new from the factory roto that insulates the heat from the carburetor, and it's always run with no trouble at all. Proper roto engine. Well, cut. Here's a little look at the Stomp in more detail. I've got to do something about that pilot. His head's a bit too big, and he hasn't got any hands either. The wings are around the corner. This is a Victor Air Tour, an Australian kit I bought several years ago. Never able to compete with it because it came out a little bit too heavy. It's upside down because it's an Australian airplane. But just about turn it over the way. Fuel tank. Right, this one has a laser 360 in it, which you can, again, tightly baffled. Over the back there is my PT-22. Again, an airplane that came out a little bit too heavy, and like the full size is a bit of a handful to fly. Okay. This is my Westland Wessex, which has flown in 2 or 3 world championships. Highest place was 6th in Romania. The Wessex was a 1934 design 4-seat airliner. 3 engines, 4 seats. Airline economics haven't improved much. Interesting about this, you watched the flight over Everest a couple of weeks ago with a Westland Wapiti derivative. Westland borrowed the fin and rudder from the Wapiti to put on the Wessex, which you might notice is the same shape. Here's my Gloucester Gladiator. It was another donated from a sale model which I've had to lighten and improve. I've got a DLE 100 for it. It should make it hop along. Next winter's project to get finished.
So at this point, this is just a few of Richard's previous models, which when we open things up later, Richard might talk about or feel free to ask him about. Richard, do you want to say anything about this part?
Can I talk over this?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, well, that's an old photo of the one and only Vickers Venom. And that's the same aircraft at Brooklands racetrack. You can see the banking in the background. Shiny cowling, the rest of it natural aluminium. The archive sent me these 4 perfect photos. A nice front view. Looks a bit ugly, doesn't it? With a pimple on top. And the electric retract's just going up. I think that's at a Hendon Air Show, which we've got a bit more of later. That's also at Hendon on the Vickers collection. On half the it's at 650 horsepower, nearly half what a Spitfire is, but was 30 miles an hour slower. The Air Ministry wanted a radial fighter in case the Merlin was a failure, and so as a backup. The sleeve valve engine was underdeveloped and a bit of a failure, which is why the project never went ahead. See that valuable photo, you see the doors open there? Oh, the engine's running with no pilot in it. It had this swing open engine for easy servicing. It wasn't the only airplane that ever did that, but I've never heard of one before. See the 4 gills? Gills were a new invention, 1938. One man opening it. Bolting it up tight. There goes the Spitfire at Hendon. And the Venom.
My Vickers Venom project. The Venom was conceived as a fighter in the same competition that produced the Spitfire and the Hurricane. The problem was they made a new fighter with a new engine, and they made it a bit too small. There was no development potential. So only one was made, and it was destroyed in 1938, I think. There's a little bit of video to show you. Some new things to me I've done on this model is a rotary disk drive on the ailerons. No external controls on that. I did a G10 flap system, flight metal. There's no paint at all on this airplane, so it's all polished aluminium. The retracts have been in, but I will show you them later. Lovely tight controls on that rotary drive system. Great big fillet, round fuselage transitioning to a dodecahedral 12-sided rear fuselage. And that was designed or redesigned by Barnes Wallis, who worked at Vickers at the time. Barnes Wallis of the Bouncing Bomb, Tall Boy, and lots of other successful airplanes. This will be, hopefully, is going to be the retract system. I've had a few different tries. This is a stripped down air system. I've made the strut with some sponge wheels. No external slots on that. I hope to power this system with these powerful, these are 27 kilo servos, and if they work, I'll be able to control the speed and travel from the transmitter. The Venom was an all-electric aeroplane anyway, and I thought it would be nice to keep it that way. Here it is the right way up. The feature of the Venom is this side window. There's one on each side. The one on the port side was the pilot's door. So I started making that here. I made a classic mistake and followed the shape on the 3 view. And suddenly realised it was completely wrong and redid it from the photo. This has got 4 layers of litho between these MDF plates, ready to be cut out on the bandsaw. The inside was milled out on the milling machine, and those will go on there, something like that. This is a glass fibre on lost foam rear strake, which is huge. It goes on something like that. I've yet to tackle the cowl. I've got a wood turning lathe over there, but that is a 12-inch diameter cowl, which interestingly was supplied to Vickers by Bristol's as a complete unit. As in photos, you can see that the cowl is much shinier than the rest of the aeroplane because it was produced by Bristol's. In the video clip, you can see one chap opening the cowl like that, where it locked. This caused problems for the engineers who designed it, but of course it's wonderful for the ground crew who could service the back of the radial engine, and they needed to because it was very unreliable. Okay.
There we go. Thank you, Richard. If I can ask a couple of questions to begin with. We saw some of your history with scale models. My first memory of you was flying your Starduster 2 back at Woodvale in the early 1980s. But then you also you first started, or you were one of the founder members of the LMA as well, where you were building de Havilland Comets and Boeing airliners and various things with Richard Rawl. So what was it that made you get started in scale modelling?
Yeah, I was LMA membership number 3. I built this the Black Widow, the Ziroli one, because Boddington wanted me to for review. But then McDermott wrote to me and said, because you flew it in the large scale at the Nats when we had one, would I like to come along to the team trials? And found myself in the team. I came 7th, but Brian Taylor didn't want to go. And so that's when we went to Perigou. That was my first World Champs.
Which was back in '96, and then of course the Black Widow went to South Africa as well in '98. And
it did.
Yeah.
It went back in '99 as well. for some event of this. We got invited back.
Yeah, and then you've been almost a World Championship regular since then. I know I've been in various trips with you. My first overseas trip to Poland in 2001, when there were 5 of us in Mick Reeves' transit van with 3 aircraft and all our luggage. That was an experience and a half.
Yeah, lived to tell the tale. Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Where Max was obviously there as well at that time. But yeah, anyone got any questions for Richard? Let's see. Chris? Oh, is Roger still there to allow me to?
He's just
You
come
can still
back.
unmute yourself, so that's all right.
Oh yeah, Chris, if you just.
I've got a question, Richard. Why was how was the construction of the fuselage done? Was it a metal base frame, or was it a 12-sided thing? That's quite an unusual way to construct a fuselage.
Yeah, I think it was a monocoque sheet aluminium
Okay.
thing. They made it with about 8 sides, and it wasn't stiff enough. So that's why Barnes Wallis had to revise it.
Okay.
The wings also weren't very stiff, and I've got a stress report from the National Physics Laboratory or something where they tested the twist. It was warping around the ammunition hatches, although it never had guns, which we discovered. Yeah.
Chris?
Yeah, I think the first model that I judged of yours was the Waco.
All right.
What's happened to it?
Well, it crashed when on the runway in front of everybody. Absolutely.
I don't remember that. When was that?
Is it Barkston Heath?
It was it the Radio Modeler Festival or something?
Yeah, at the Festival of Flight in July, maybe about. Oh, it's over 10 years ago.
Yeah, I know it was a while back. Yeah,
Probably 20. I've still got the tail.
right.
It was a multiplex radio fault.
Oh,
They sent me a new set, but they didn't send me a new airplane.
right, no. Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't there at that event, so that accounts for why I don't really remember it. But
And that airplane was the plans and some of the parts were sent to me by SIG's chief designer at Top Gun. And I spent the week admiring Claude McCulloch.
Claude McCulloch, yeah.
Yeah, the chief designer at SIG's. He designed it and encouraged me to build it.
I remember it well because it was such a nice model, and it just seemed to fly well as well, albeit a little bit quick. But I think it was on the weight limit again, wasn't it?
And the weight limit wasn't 15 kilo then, was it?
No, it was 12, and you and I had lots
12.
of fun, Richard, in Poland and Canada, stripping stuff out the aircraft to get it underweight.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fine. You either expanded your workshop since I was there last, or you've acquired a few more bits and pieces, Richard.
Yeah, it's the second one.
It's the second one, right? Yes, because you were still clearing out the old oven when I was there, so you've got a lot more space.
That took me a couple of years.
Yeah.
To clear the rubbish out. Asbestos.
Yeah.
5 tons of scrap.
I remember seeing it, and it looked like a horrendous job, but no, it's looking good now. Yeah.
I'm always amazed how much space you need to build models. I've just recently converted my carport into a garage, but it's still single width garage, and it's still very, very tight for space. But anyway, Richard, talking of lightening things, how are you going about lightening your Gladiator? What are you doing to lighten that? besides
it'll
drill
probably-
holes in everything and
Yeah, it'll probably never be in the limit. I didn't build the basic model. I just sort of revised it. It was built by a club member who worked with Dave Platt on the Battle of Britain film. It's that old.
right.
And there's a lot of block and plywood in it.
So are you stripping all the heavy wood out and stuff
I've
like
done
that?
my best. I don't know whether to finish it and sell it or fly it or put the engine in or what. But it'll never be an F4 model because I'm certain that, I mean, it's the third Gladiator and you can hardly get a quarter Gladiator in 15 kilo. It's got so much chunk hanging on it.
Doug, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, hello, Richard. It's Doug Hunt. Yeah, it's a quick question. That Monster Grade 12-inch balsa half-inch sheet thick cowl that you showed us, two things. How are you going to finish it to get it to look like that polished metal? And the other thing is, are you actually going to hinge it?
I'm not going to hinge it.
Right.
I've got a wood turning lathe I can spin it up on and shape it. Then I've got some American filler that's like paint, but it's like Bondafil stuff.
Yeah.
It's for cars. The Americans are very fond of. And that's going to be the coating on it. And for paint, I've already got some chrome car wrapping mylar stuff.
Right.
It's in the cars, custom cars,
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
yeah. Well, you can get chrome in that stuff.
Yeah.
And I've got a meter or two.
That's going to be entertaining trying to bend that round the front, isn't it?
No, it's flexible. It's like rubbery solar film.
Right, but you'll get creases if you're not careful, won't you?
Well, if you can get it around a car wing or
Yeah.
headlight, I thought I could get it around that, but yeah.
Yeah, sounds a good scheme. Thank you.
Yeah.
Richard, I've had a bit of experience with that stuff, and while it does mould around things quite nicely, you've got to be really careful with it because you can lift it up after you've actually put it down and have another go at it. It's actually, if you look really closely at, certainly at the stuff that I had, it's got a fine hexagon shape to the adhesive on the back of it. And if you get overheated or do too much with it, that actually comes back through and you end up not having a chrome surface. It's hoping to look like polished aluminium. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about here. So yeah, you just have to be a bit aware of it. Try it on something first. Because
well, that's
it's
why
expensive stuff.
I kept such a good eye on your biplane build, the shot, whatever it
Fury
was.
build, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
Yeah, there's a good reason I didn't use it.
So which parts was it that you were attempting to use it on then, Gwen?
All of it.
All of it, and right, okay.
Yeah.
and it didn't work. Well, that's bad news.
Look, it does work, but it's, it depends on what your standard you want to finish it to at the end of the day. It probably looks great flying away at 10 feet or something, but yeah, just have a play with it first. It's expensive stuff too. Like I can't remember what I paid for a couple of meters of it, but I think I've still got about 1.5 of it. So yeah, try it first.
Okay. Because it'll be moulded on glass fibre.
Yeah, mine was as well. And you need a perfect finish on it.
Right.
What is your aim with the Venom, Richard? Is it for like F4 competition work or flying only, or what?
Well, I always do my best, but I haven't got any illusions that I've got a massive set of documentation. And there certainly isn't one to copy. So it'll be what it is. I'll do my best with it, but
it's lack of close-up pictures, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we talked about this when you were first gathering documentation for it, and because you asked me if I had any, and I haven't got any detail shots at all. I've got copies of the same ones you've got, but that's all.
Yeah.
This
Some
is
extraordinary stuff has come in since I've been building it. There's a chap with a website who specialises in it, and he's been finding things and sending them to me. But I haven't got any illusions it'll be a fabulous F4 model.
The fantastic thing is, though, Richard, a lot of the aircraft that you build, the vast majority of people haven't heard of. So, I mean, it's more a case of hands up who did know of the Vickers Venom before this little footage tonight. The same with your Westland Wessex. That was another one, which proved to be a really successful scale model. So you have to be admired and commended for it.
Wessex started me on the trail when my father took a photo in 1938 of it at Croydon Airport under the wing of that short Scylla that you saw briefly in a slide. They only made 10 of those. I just picked the one that I could find the most photos of.
Mike Chilson, do you want to ask anything of Richard? I know Richard's one of the main or a major contributor on the RC Scale Builder forum.
Yeah, everyone on the site wants to know where all the little people are in your shop that you keep hiding from us, because there's no way that all that work gets done so fast.
Yeah.
Actually, in all seriousness, you know, for those of you that don't know Richard well, which most of you seem to, one thing I've learned from him personally is lightning aircraft and how to do that. And he stays on me constantly when I'm working on one to make sure I keep it light. So I appreciate that, and everyone else does too. So great group here. I've really enjoyed this. It's nice to hear the discussion and meet modelers from all over the world like this.
Yeah.
The one model I built on a scale builder, the Balsa USA JU2, which didn't last very long. Basically I stalled it, but I brought that home from America when I was staying with Reg, who's also talking to us tonight, aren't we, Reg? Yeah. Well, I dragged that home from Colorado when we were staying with you. Yeah, built it in about 3 weeks.
And also, I got to meet Richard back in, I guess it was what, 2014 at Top Gun.
We met at Top Gun. Yeah.
And super nice guy. But I've enjoyed this. Thanks for the invite, by the way.
Not at all. Great that you've joined. Phil Kingsbury, do you want to unmute yourself and ask the question, or I can do it for you? Right, well, Phil has typed in here how many hours or estimated time that you think you've spent in the Venom, and how many do you think it will take you to get it complete?
Most of my models take me 3 winters. The Swordfish took 5 winters. The Wessex was 4, I think it was 3 winters and another one to put the forks right. The Stomp was 2 winters. The Venom is different because I started it beginning of lockdown, so it's been 1 summer. It's going to be 1. Hope to finish it next winter. I usually fly them before they're finished, as we know.
And how many sort of hours a day do you tend to spend on them?
Oh, sometimes 8 hours.
I know most times when I call, Angela has to come out and sort of say, Richard.
Yeah. 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 I mean, sometimes I work 8 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we've retired for, isn't it?
Yep.
Danny, have you got anything to ask or input? Putting him on the spot.
Yeah, a little bit. No, it was a real privilege to see in your workshop, Richard, and see where it all happens, where the magic happens. But no, it's good. I remember seeing quite a bit when you built the PT, and a lot of that was on RC Scale Builder with you.
Yeah.
Drilling those rivets using a little rounded tool in the pillar drill onto a tire.
Oh, that, yeah.
To make rivets.
Yeah.
I've yet to try that, but I'm gonna. I've got to try it just to see how bonkers it is. But
well, that was an American invention. That Reg found for me in a magazine.
Yeah.
I didn't invent it.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's the best way to make a dome rivet.
Yeah.
You really can't beat it, and remarkably quick and easy.
What's the shortest way?
What's that technique then, Richard? I don't know that technique.
The easiest
Don't know
thing
whether you want
to. On Scale Builder, we've got a tutorial.
Okay.
And it's on there, which Mike Chisholm would be happy to tell you about.
Yeah. I'm a member anyway, so I'll go and look it up.
Okay, in the tutorial section, there's perhaps it isn't there. I've got the rib tape one there. I've got a series of photos I can send you. You send me an email, I'll send it to you.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I've passed on the rib tape one to a few people, Richard. So that's the same technique I use.
Yeah.
So it works very well.
It does, and it's quick and easy, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Quickish. Yeah.
Yeah. It rolls up into a nice ball when you've done it wrong as well.
Yeah, it does. Sticky ball. Yeah.
Tim Horn, if you want to unmute yourself and ask your question. There we go.
Hi, Richard. It's a particular question about your stump and whether or not you actually have a proper 3 view of the Lycoming engine version. It's a question that I'm asking from a personal point of view because I've looked into doing a peanut scale or slightly larger indoor rubber version of the same model, and I couldn't find any 3 view anywhere other than the 4C or the other older versions that didn't have the Lycoming engine. And I just wondered whether you had anything or whether you'd just done yours from available photographs.
Available photos. It's in Belgium. I've been over there 3 times to photograph it, measure it, and it took months to get the shape, what I think is right. There's no 3 views because they're all one-offs.
Yeah.
There's about 8 in the world with Lycoming conversions, and every one is completely different. The rest of the airplane is standard, but the cowl was really difficult to get the shape of those cheeks right. The shadows and the light changes. Yeah.
But you had Richard, well, when we did our static training day in January, then you and John Carpenter went off and did your sort of like magic on it, and you basically adapted the original 3 view to include the Lycoming engine.
Yeah.
And then that'll go through the sort of BMFA Scale Technical Committee authentication, Tim. So if you speak nicely to
something
Richard,
becomes available, then I'd be very interested in getting a copy of it because 3 trips to Belgium with a camera is a bit much for a peanut model, I think.
Yeah.
No, there's no 3 views. I'll send you my collection of photos.
I'd be very interested in those, yes, but you know, I couldn't find anything either, and I hoped you would have something.
No. And why would there be? Because it was done, you know, perhaps 80 years after the thing was built.
Yeah.
It was converted. It was actually converted in my town in Booker about 20 years ago. Stored in the taxman chased the bloke and it was hidden in a barn. And the guy from Belgium found it and bought it. Low hours on the engine and flies it regularly. But and the guy who works in the next hangar is a modeller who's actually on Scale Builder and is a wonderful contact if I need stuff.
Yeah.
There's other conversions. There's another one in Buckinghamshire, but they're all different, and most of them are ugly as well, except mine.
It flies very well, though. I mean, Marcus Houseman, it's a different version of the Stomp that you have, Marcus, but at the same size. You're very happy with that as a model as well, having won the World Championships with it. And well, Mike Hadland is probably Mr. Stomp. With how many have you built, Mike, over the years? Oh, you're still on mute, Mike.
I've probably built, 4 or 5. Just fantastic aeroplane. I say I've hunted high and low as well for a 3-view, but nothing at all.
No, you just got to go. One day it would be nice to scan it, wouldn't it? Some modern technology, but
don't forget, Richard, you'll have to get that modified drawing that you've done authorized. So ultimately, there will be a revised drawing based on the conventional Stomp with the inline engine.
Yeah.
So having now got the shape right, whenever you're ready, we can get those drawings checked and approved.
Yeah.
And then Tim can speak nicely to you.
I've got the stamp ready, not the stamp, not the Stomp.
Yeah.
The BMFA stamp ready to put on the document.
You've got it ready. It's not a stamp; it's a sticker.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So it's down to you whenever you're ready.
Yeah, but perhaps we do it at War Boys or something.
Well, I might not be there, but we've got the whole of the winter to sort that out. I mean,
and next spring.
Yeah, probably.
Next summer.
Any more questions for Richard? I'm scanning through. Let's see. No, nothing. Paul, is there anything you want to say just while we've got people on about World Champs update or anything like that?
Oh, it's actually not any for the competitors right now. It's nothing happened. It's gonna be a bureau meeting in about 10 days. Then we will have, because we had a subcommittee meeting a couple of days ago to have a little chat about where to go. And inside the subcommittee is quite, we think we will try to get it in 21, and if it's not possible, we will just postpone to 22. Then again, if we do it 21, there will probably, if the CM Bureau agree, probably not be any championships in 22. So we wait until 24, hopefully in UK then, if the bid is coming in in any time. But other than that, I think right now it's very difficult to decide what to do. I said to the subcommittee, and I said to all that asked, that we will try to have an answer in mid-late December for what we're going to do to the summer. It all depends on how traveling is going. I don't think it would be that huge problem inside Europe, but our World Championships is a little bit bigger than just Europe. So we wait until December, and then there will come some sort of announcement.
Yep, thanks, Paul. And well, Steve Kessel is leading our proposed bid for 2024 in the UK, and I know Steve's continuing various bits of work in that. We have regular updates. So all being well, then the UK will be hosting its first World Championship since 1978 in 2024. About time too, say various people from around the world, but we have had various challenges to overcome, but we seem to be getting there now. And that's really it. Does anyone have any other questions, even generally, before I hand over very briefly? I'm going to put him on the spot again, Mike Stewart. Mike is going to be doing the next session on Wednesday, the September the 2nd, on an introduction to kit scale. Mike?
Yeah, hi. I'm going to be giving an overview of the kit scale class. Have a quick look at the rules. I want to highlight the rule changes we made for this year, which we never got a chance to try out in the real life, sadly. Looking at examples of successful models with videos, some advice on model selection. I'm hoping it'll encourage more people to give the class a go in 2021. I'm also going to talk a bit about the challenge of building a 54-inch span Taylor craft for the class and keeping it under the 200 gram limit, which was quite a challenge.
Great, thanks, Mike. I mean, the great thing about free flight, the kit scale class, is it's something that all of us can have a go at. It's also something that we in the UK would be proposing to hold some sort of free flight fun competition as part of the World Championships in 2024, whether we go down the full route of having F4A rookie build or whatever. That would definitely be a possibility. But the kit scale class is something that people could easily transport along with their standard competition models, and would add a different dimension to the competition. But that's where we're sort of thinking.
If you put F4A in, Graham,
yeah,
we would certainly support it. We've probably got the furthest to come.
Yeah.
And as you know, we've attended, but that would hopefully be with the revised rules that you are hopefully all going to look at and at least feedback on.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
The rules, Ricky, are pretty much as I sent you. There's not very much change since then. Did you get that?
Yeah, I got that, Doug, and that's brilliant.
Yeah, I need to be in touch with you, Ricky, as well, about how we use our slightly different rules and how we try and align those with what we want to send to the FAI.
Okay, no, that's good.
That's coming up on the priority list.
Good. And by the way, we've got a very strong entry by the look of it at our nationals for kit scale, both indoor and outdoor. Excellent. We actually fly our kit scale to the same rules, both indoors and outdoors.
Yeah.
So we'll be reporting back on how that goes. But to give you an idea, nearly 30 kits have gone out to quite a few radio flyers.
Great. Yeah.
Is that the same rules that I'm waiting for, huh?
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
Yep, same ones. Okay, well, thank you everyone once again for joining tonight. Thanks. Big thanks go to Richard for allowing us to see inside his workshop, especially as he only agreed to doing this a week ago. So thanks very much, Richard, and to Roger again for hosting.